First of all, I don't know what the week's been like for you, but it's been great for me. I have enjoyed this so much. I love learning, and I've learned as much from you as you might have learned from me. I hope that's the case, but I know what I've learned. And so we've kind of come full circle, because I'm supposed to be here as a teacher with teacher leaders, and I've learned so much. But I want to go back. I have to tell you, people were a little worried. What if we do the door prizes first? Will the people who don't win door prizes leave? No, not the dedicated. We'll stay till the end. And this could be another moment to have one last great thought. But aren't you already here? Aren't you already just kind of, I'm done? Unless the thought is Cabernet, I'm out. If that offended you, sorry, but that made it emotional. So I thought we'd go back to the whole idea of emotional and laugh a little bit more, because I want to take you back all the way full circle for me. I shared with you my experience with Principal John Heath. H-E-A-T-H. Yeah. John Heath and I did not get along in 8th grade, and for the little bit of the beginning of my teaching career, we struggled as well. But early in September, I got the schedule of announced teacher observations, and mine was scheduled for November the 5th. On September the 13th, when I got the letter, I started thinking, I need to revamp my content, because there's a lot in earth science that is not naturally engaging. So I'm going to do the best earth science content the day he comes. We are going to do the planets, because kids like planets. So I had planned for months this activity, this really cool demonstration that the kids were going to be doing hands-on with Coke bottles and spinning forces. It was going to be so excellent. And the day of my announced observation, I drove to school, got to the parking lot, and realized I left all the crap on the kitchen table. And I said an ugly word. It was an ugly word. And my wife was in the car. She said, I do not like that word. I said, I know you don't, but I'm being observed today, and I left all my stuff on the table, and my wife said the ugly word. And then she said, are you kidding me, John? He already hates you. I said, well, that's not helping, Oprah. I need some help here. There's no time to go back home. And she said, okay, wait a minute. Take a deep breath. John, what are you teaching today? Talk it to me. Talk it to me. Maybe while you're talking, something will come to you, because I'm really panicking for you. I said, okay, I'm going to introduce the planets. And my wife, the band director, said, oh, the planets? John, I adore the planets. I said, you adore the planets? What are you talking about? Who says they adore the planets? She said, aren't you talking about that beautiful orchestral symphony written by Gustav Holst known as The Planets? I said, no, I'm talking about the ones that go around the sun. I am married to Melissa Sue, so she dug into her bag and she said, John, I have the music right here to the planets. Maybe you could use that somehow. You know how much John Heath loves modalities. Because in the late 70s and 80s, the thing to do as a teacher was make sure you were teaching to the modalities. Some lessons should be auditory, some should be visual, and some should be kinesthetic. They made you director of curriculum if you could do it all at the same time. So I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do with this music. And then the first bell rang. So I grabbed that 8-track and I ran to class. At 10 till 8, I get to my door, and there stands John Heath, and I am confused because he's supposed to come third period. I said, Mr. Heath, what are you doing here? He said, this is your announced observation, John. It's been on the calendar since September. I said, I'm aware of that, sir, but I thought you were coming third period. He said, did you forget today is Wonderful Wednesday? Wonderful Wednesday was an idea that surely started in California. The whole intent was to help middle school kids be more engaged. One day every other week, you change the schedule. As if engagement and confusion were the same thing. And because sometimes in curriculum you need more than the regular 50-minute block, so today third period is first, and it's 2 hours long. And I have an 8-track. And he looked me square in the eyes. He said, eager to see what I see. And he walked past me, and I thought, me too. And here's the other problem. See, third period was my worst class. And it really had nothing to do with the children. It was just a scheduling mix-up. Because third period is where the children who shouldn't be together got put together. I had 16 girls who also were in the gifted seminar and played woodwinds in the honors orchestra. 16 Melissa Sues on steroids. And the rest of the class was 14 bubbas who were in 7th period athletics and received either special ed reading or special ed math or both. And they're together, and I have an 8-track. But as I walked in, I guess the color drained from my face because Ginny Good, that's the name from Melissa Sue, Ginny Good, the first chair flute player, said, "Mr. Antonetti, are you okay? You look pale. You don't look well." I said, "Well, look at you, observant little scientist." I said, "I am a little nervous because, as you notice, Mr. Heath is in the back of the room. He is not here looking at you. He's looking at me. And we're going to have a conversation about how I teach today. And I'm a little nervous." And then one of the girls said, "Oh, so what are we going to do today?" And I said, "Well, I'm glad you asked. We're going to learn about something." And then I realized I don't have anything else. And at the same time I realized it, so did the girls. And the girls were like, "Where's his box? He always has stuff. He always has stuff." Carla Fournier said out loud, "Mr. Antonetti, are you so nervous that you forgot your stuff? You don't have your box." I said, "I know I don't have a box." I am well aware that there's no box. And that is because, let me share with you, because in the summer before you guys come to school, we have what we call professional development. And during our professional development this summer, Mr. Heath asked all the teachers, when he comes into our class, we should try something new. That's why I don't have a box. I'm trying something new, okay? And so don't you worry about it, because we're going to experiment just as he asked me to. But I do have something to get us started. We're going to learn about the planet, and I thought we would start with some music. The planets, that's as far as I got, because Ginny Good knows this music. She said, "Oh my gosh, are we going to listen to The Planets by composer Gustav Holst?" I said, "We are. Are you familiar with that?" She said, "It's my favorite." And I said, "Well, then tell everybody about it." And between Ginny and Carla and Stephanie, we learned this. Gustav Holst was a prolific composer. Many of the Anglican hymns that made it into hymnals were written by him, but perhaps his most famous work is The Planets. It is a piece of program music, which they also taught us was music that when you hear, you're supposed to see something. It tells a story. And so the girls continued to tell the class that when you listen to the music, you can close your eyes and see the planets or the gods for whom they were named. And I said, I could not have explained that better myself. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to listen to this music as an introduction to the planets. And what I thought we'd do is we'd start with a piece of paper. Hey, Pete, take a piece of paper and fold it in half like this. I had no idea what we were going to do with this paper. But I still have an hour and 50 minutes. So it's like, fold it this way, not this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Uh-huh, you got it? Mm-hmm, let me check. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. On my observation, I got nice modeling of the hot dog fold. I know. And then I opened the paper and I said, 2 columns. 2 columns, 8th graders. If I want you to think in 2 columns, what do you think I'm going to ask you to do? And one of my bubbas said, we're going to compare 2 things, aren't we? And I said, we are. We sure are. What do you think I'm going to have you compare? And one of the girls said, are we going to compare the inner rocky planets to the outer gaseous planets? I said, we could. What else do you think? And one of the girls said, are we going to compare what he tells us in the music to what's true? Yes. Yes, we are. I cannot believe you guessed that. Oh. So on this side, why don't you put 3 planets? Let's do Mars, Jupiter, and Venus, because those are my favorites. So we're going to listen to this music, and you just tell me what you hear. This is like primitive music videos, boys and girls. See, this was 1984, the year before MTV started, but all junior high kids around the country are watching Saturday morning videos instead of cartoons now, and everybody loves the video. So that was my thought. So I said, what we're going to do is you're going to listen to this music, and you're going to imagine the music video. Now, you can't get it wrong because maybe you will hear emotions. Write them down. Maybe you'll see action or events. Write that down. Maybe you'll feel color and hear color. You can't get it wrong because I don't know what you will hear. But I am going to let you have plenty of time. I'm going to play each one for about 8 or 9 minutes. So just, enjoy it. Here we go. This is Mars. And they all wrote. This is Jupiter. Da da dee da 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 da. And they wrote, and I thought, this is working. This is Venus. And they wrote, we have half a page. I have half a chance. I said, okay, boys and girls, that took not as much time as I thought. But okay, we're fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to compare what Gustav told us that he knew in the early 1900s to what we know almost 100 years later. It is now 1984. We now have more facts and knowledge about the planets. Where could we get some facts about our planets to put in this column? And one of the girls said, are we going to go to the library? No, I did not book the library. Are we going to take notes? No, no overhead. No. One of the girls said, what about the chart on page 152, summary of the chapter? I said, yeah. Thank you, McGraw-Hill. Let's open that up. And there's just a whole lot of facts, summary of each planet. What I want you to do is I want you to put a fact that you find most interesting, but make sure it's something he would not have known. Because in the chapter, it tells how we learned and when we learned things about the planets. So make sure it's after 1918. And then put it over here. And then here's the creative part. This part must be true. But even scientists need to think creatively. So when you know this is true, I want you to decide, does the music still fit the truth? And you can tell me yes or no, but tell me why, dependent upon the truth. Does that make sense? And they all said yes. And I said, well, then do that. So the kids are writing and they're working independently or they're starting to whisper back and forth. And as I'm walking around, I'm seeing great thinking. But John Heath is back there marking all kinds of stuff. He can't even hear what they're saying. He's probably marking my proximity or something. And I thought, you know what? This is really going well. I want credit for this thing that I planned. So I said, boys and girls, we're going to stop for just a minute. I want Mr. Heath to hear your thinking and make sure we're thinking critically to creatively. So girls, what did you put for Mars? One of the girls said, I wrote down that Mars was ominous and angry. That's how it sounded to me, ominous and angry. I said, I can hear that too. What's your true fact? Well, my true fact is there is no free oxygen, no water on Mars. Mr. Antonetti, we need oxygen and water. If we were suddenly on Mars with no oxygen and water, we would be angry. I said, okay, that works. Boys, what'd you say? Yeah, I wrote down, Mr. Antonetti, I wrote down that Mars sounded dark and swirly and black. And that still works, Mr. Antonetti, because I wrote down the same thing she did. I wrote down no oxygen. And if you're trying to breathe on Mars with no oxygen, after a while, you're going to see dark, and then swirly, and then black. Yeah, okay. So girls, what'd you say about Jupiter? And one of my gifted girls said, the music spoke to me of largesse. I was 21 years old. I had never heard the word largesse. So I said, it did to me too. And then I went back to my people. Okay, boys, what did you write down? And Michael said, I wrote down Miss America. The music sounds like the music at the end of Miss America when she wins and she takes the crown. Mr. Anthony, that still works because I wrote down 4 facts. I wrote down that Jupiter is the biggest planet. That guy probably already knew that. But I don't know if he knew that it had the strongest gravitational pull and the strongest magnetic field because of its size. And also, it has the single largest weather system in the entire solar system, known as the giant red spot. I said, okay, so connect it for me. He said, Jupiter is like Miss America. It won everything. I said, okay, cool. So then I went to Andrea, and Andrea is a student who's just moved to Marion, Arkansas from Irving, California. So what did you say, Andrea? Oh my gosh, Venus was effervescent and sparkly. I said, okay, explain that to me. Well, as you know, Mr. Antonetti, Venus is the second planet from the sun, and as such receives a tremendous amount of sunlight. Yet its cloud cover is so dense that 86% of the light that enters the atmosphere of Venus is reflected back into the solar system. So if you know where to look at night, you can see Venus, our sparkly, effervescent evening star. I was like, you go, Jan Brady. Okay, boys, what do you say? And already, David's already talking. No, the planet is not pretty. I wrote the music was pretty, the planet is not. Mr. Antonetti, it says in the book that every day it rains sulfuric acid of the same concentration as battery acid. Electrical storms every day. You're standing on Venus, it starts raining acid, you are not thinking pretty. I said, boys, girls, I love the way you took the fact and the interpretation and put that together. That was that went as well as I thought it would. That was really great. Now, that was an auditory lesson because we were listening and then seeing. So what we're going to do today is tomorrow we're going to do more of a seeing thing. But I've got another 45 minutes. So what I thought we would see now is, I'm just going to put some notes on the board about the planets. And then tomorrow, yes, for homework, you can turn in the chart on page 170. There's a close activity where some of the words are missing about length of day, atmospheric condition, length of year, rotation, etc. And you'll just fill in that if you so choose to do that assignment. But perhaps a more fun assignment would be to be like Gustav Holst. Let's bring out our creativity. And you can take any planet we learn about today and draw me a picture of what it would look like to be on that planet. Now, I don't care about your interpretation because I've never been to another planet other than Earth. But you must be telling me true facts when you interpret it. Does that work? I said, yeah, okay, cool. So I lectured a little bit. At the end, I said, so you've got plenty of information now between me and the book. Remember, if you do the chart in the back of the chapter, you'll just put it in the homework basket when you come in tomorrow. But if you do the picture, I would love for you to share those pictures with the class so we can see the way you saw the truth. That'll be great. Today was auditory. Tomorrow we'll look at yours, and that'll be visual. I will see you tomorrow. And they walked out, and as they walked out, John Heath slowly approached my table, and he said, Mr. Antonetti, I got to tell you, I'm surprised. And I said, me too. I said, you go first. What surprised you? He said, what surprised me was how quickly the kids were thinking. He said, I expect you to be much more traditional in your approach, that you would present some science, and then they would do something with it afterwards. He said, they were thinking from the minute they walked in here. It was organic. I said, and organic's good, right? He said, organic is that feeling when it almost feels like you're making it up as you go. And I said, I got that too. It's hard to plan for organic. It really is. Tomorrow, though, sir, is much more structured because I have a little scoring guide, and when the kids present their planets, I'll just be marking the scoring guide. It'll be a little bit more traditional as they present. And he said, I can't wait to see their pictures. I said, oh, you're coming back? He said, he said, I can see them in my head now. I want to see what the kids do. You don't mind if I pop in tomorrow? I said, well, Mr. Heath, you know what? The assignment's already done. I'd be honored to have you in class tomorrow. And he said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Did you hear it? John Heath just called me buddy. And as he left, I was like, okay, pal. So the next day, we're standing at the door as the kids come in, and every gifted female puts the little chart in the basket. The knowledge level repeat and fill in the blank activity goes in the basket. I was angered, and I did not control my emotions. Brain rule number 8 took over, and I said, ladies, I can't tell you how disappointed I am. Mr. Heath came back today because he wanted to see that creativity, and you all did the little homework assignment where you just filled in the words. And Jenny Good defended her friends and said, Mr. Antonetti, we had a band concert last night. Your wife's our band director. You know we were there. We can almost do that other activity in our sleep, and we did after the concert. I said, okay, but boys, nobody did it. I said, I'm just really disappointed, guys, that nobody did that assignment. I said, I really put a lot of planning into that, and I'm not going to hide my disappointment. And finally, John Heath said, Mr. Antonetti, look over here. And right by the door is a hand up. It's the hand of Kevin Miller. Let me tell you about Kevin Miller. Kevin Miller, in my teaching career, I've only been teaching a short while, but even still, all these years later, is one of the saddest children I've ever taught. Kevin Miller was in special ed reading, special ed math.